Welcome to the English Pod Zone. My name is Sarah, and today marks the beginning of an extraordinary transformation in your English learning journey. This is not just another vocabulary lesson. This is a comprehensive masterclass designed to elevate your English from basic to brilliant, from simple to sophisticated, from ordinary to outstanding. Over the next 40 minutes, you will embark on a carefully structured learning experience that will introduce you to over 100 powerful, advanced English words. These are not random words pulled from a dictionary. These are carefully selected terms that native speakers use every single day in professional settings, in academic environments, in social conversations, and in written communication. Before we dive into this transformative journey, I want you to prepare yourself mentally and physically. Find a comfortable place where you can focus without distractions. Perhaps grab a notebook and pen because writing while learning dramatically increases retention. If you're ready to commit to this journey, I want you to do 3 simple things right now. First, like this video to show your commitment. Second, subscribe to this channel so you never miss a lesson. And third, write in the comments section which words are completely new to you and share your own creative sentences using them. Here's why this matters. When you write, you don't just passively receive information, you actively process it. When you share, you don't just learn alone, you become part of a global community of ambitious learners just like yourself. Your participation transforms this from a one-way lecture into an interactive, engaging learning experience. Now, let me ask you something important. Have you ever been in a conversation with a native English speaker and felt frustrated because you couldn't express exactly what you wanted to say? Have you ever read an article or watched a movie and encountered words that left you feeling confused or inadequate? Have you ever wanted to sound more professional in emails, more articulate in presentations, more confident in job interviews? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then you're in exactly the right place. The secret that separates basic English speakers from advanced, fluent speakers isn't grammar rules or pronunciation tricks. The real secret is vocabulary. Vocabulary is the foundation of fluency. Vocabulary is the building block of confidence. Vocabulary is the key that unlocks doors to opportunities you never imagined possible. Think about it this way. Grammar gives you the structure, the skeleton of language, but vocabulary gives you the flesh, the color, the personality, the power to express nuanced thoughts and complex emotions. When you expand your vocabulary, you don't just learn new words. You gain new ways of thinking, new perspectives on the world, new tools for success. But here's the challenge that most English learners face. They rely too heavily on basic, elementary words. They say very good when they could say excellent or outstanding. They say very big when they could say enormous or massive. They say very tired when they could say exhausted or drained. They say very happy when they could say delighted or ecstatic or thrilled. These basic words are not wrong. They communicate meaning, but they lack power. They lack sophistication. They lack the impact that makes people listen, that commands attention, that creates memorable impressions. Today, we're going to change that pattern forever. We're going to replace weak words with strong words. We're going to upgrade your vocabulary systematically and strategically. We're going to give you the linguistic tools that will transform how you speak, how you write, how you think, and ultimately, how others perceive you. This masterclass is divided into 10 comprehensive sections, each focusing on a different aspect of life and communication. We'll explore vocabulary for emotions and feelings, for professional and academic settings, for travel and adventure, for culture and society, for technology and innovation, for personal development, for relationships, for health and wellness, for finance and business, and for everyday situations. In each section, I will introduce you to 10 powerful words. But I won't just give you definitions. I'll give you context, I'll give you examples, I'll give you stories, I'll give you opportunities to practice through a technique called shadowing, where you listen carefully and then repeat after me, training your mouth, your ears, and your brain simultaneously. This shadowing technique is incredibly powerful because it engages multiple learning pathways at once. When you listen, you train your ear to recognize correct pronunciation and intonation. When you repeat, you train your mouth muscles to produce those sounds accurately. When you connect the sound with the meaning, you train your brain to recall and use these words naturally. So here's how we'll proceed. I'll introduce each word clearly. I'll explain what it means in simple terms. I'll give you 2 or 3 example sentences showing how native speakers use this word in real life. Then I'll invite you to create your own sentence. After we've learned 10 words, I'll weave them together into a short, cohesive story that demonstrates how these words work together naturally. Then you'll shadow that story with me, sentence by sentence, building fluency and confidence. Are you ready? I can feel your excitement and perhaps a little nervousness, and that's perfectly natural. Learning something new always creates that mixture of anticipation and uncertainty. But I promise you this: if you stay with me for these 40 minutes, if you engage fully, if you practice actively rather than just listening passively, you will walk away transformed. Your English will sound more sophisticated. Your confidence will feel stronger. Your ability to express complex thoughts and subtle emotions will expand dramatically. You'll have tools that most English learners never acquire, advantages that will serve you in every area of your life. So take a deep breath, relax your shoulders, clear your mind of distractions, and let's begin this incredible journey together. Welcome to the Complete Advanced Vocabulary Masterclass. Let's transform your English, starting right now. Section 1. Emotions and Inner Experiences. Human emotions are complex, layered, and nuanced, yet most English learners express these rich, complicated feelings using only basic words like happy, sad, angry, or scared. This severely limits your ability to connect with others, to express yourself authentically, to be understood at a deeper level. In this section, we're going to explore 10 powerful emotion words that will give you the ability to express exactly how you feel with precision and impact. First word, ecstatic. Repeat after me, ecstatic. This word means extremely happy, far beyond ordinary happiness. It's the happiness you feel when something absolutely wonderful and perhaps unexpected happens. For example, she was ecstatic when she received the scholarship to study at Oxford University. Another example, I felt ecstatic when I finally achieved my dream of running a marathon. Now you try. Create a sentence about a time you felt ecstatic. Perhaps you might say, I will feel ecstatic when I become fluent in English. Second word, anxious. Say it with me, anxious. Anxious means worried, nervous, or uneasy about something that might happen or something uncertain. For example, he felt anxious before his job interview because he really wanted the position. Another example, many students feel anxious before important exams. Can you think of something that makes you feel anxious? Try saying, I sometimes feel anxious when I have to speak English in public. Third word, overwhelmed. Repeat carefully, overwhelmed. This powerful word describes the feeling when you have too much to handle, too many emotions, too many responsibilities, too many choices, too much stress all at once. For example, she felt overwhelmed when she had to manage 3 projects, study for exams, and take care of her sick mother simultaneously. Another example, moving to a new country can make you feel overwhelmed by all the changes. Say it with me. Sometimes I feel overwhelmed by how much I need to learn. Fourth word, grateful. Say it, grateful. Grateful means deeply thankful and appreciative for something or someone. It's more profound than simply saying thank you. For example, I am grateful for my parents' sacrifices that made my education possible. Another example, she felt grateful when her friends supported her during a difficult time. Now create your own sentence. You might say, I am grateful for this opportunity to improve my English. Fifth word, frustrated. Repeat after me. Frustrated. Frustrated describes the feeling when something is difficult, when things don't work the way you expect, when you're trying hard but not succeeding. For example, he felt frustrated when his computer crashed right before he could save his important work. Another example, many language learners feel frustrated when they can't express their thoughts clearly. Try this. I feel frustrated when I forget English words I've already studied. Sixth word, relieved. Say it slowly, relieved. Relieved means feeling calm and happy because something bad didn't happen or because a worry or problem has ended. For example, she felt relieved when the doctor said the test results were normal. Another example, I was relieved when I finally found my lost passport before my flight. Practice saying, I felt relieved when I passed my English exam. Seventh word, determined. Repeat, determined. Determined means having a strong desire to achieve something and refusing to give up, no matter how difficult it becomes. For example, despite failing 3 times, he remained determined to start his own business. Another example, she is determined to become fluent in English within 2 years. Say with confidence, I am determined to master advanced English vocabulary. Eighth word, vulnerable. Say it carefully. Vulnerable. Vulnerable means feeling emotionally exposed, unprotected, or easily hurt. It's when you open yourself up honestly, risking rejection or judgment. For example, he felt vulnerable when he shared his personal struggles with the group. Another example, speaking a new language can make you feel vulnerable because you might make mistakes. Try saying, I feel vulnerable when I speak English, but I know it's part of learning. Ninth word, content. Repeat after me, content. Content means peacefully happy and satisfied with what you have, not wanting more or different. For example, after years of chasing success, he finally felt content with his simple life. Another example, she felt content watching the sunset with her family. Create your sentence. I feel content when I make progress in my English studies. 10th word, melancholy. Say it slowly. Melancholy. Melancholy describes a gentle, thoughtful sadness, often without a specific reason. It's more poetic and reflective than depression. For example, rainy days sometimes fill me with a quiet melancholy. Another example, the old photographs brought a sweet melancholy as she remembered her childhood. Practice. Sometimes I feel melancholy when I miss my home country. Excellent work. You've just learned 10 sophisticated ways to express emotions. Now let's put them all together in a story. Listen carefully first. Maria woke up feeling melancholy on the morning of her important presentation. She had been anxious all week, worried about speaking in English in front of so many people. She felt vulnerable because English wasn't her first language. As she prepared, she became overwhelmed by all the details she needed to remember. She felt frustrated when she couldn't pronounce certain words perfectly. But Maria was determined not to give up. She was grateful for her teacher's support and encouragement. When the presentation ended successfully, she felt incredibly relieved. Her colleagues' positive feedback made her ecstatic. That night, lying in bed, she felt deeply content, knowing that her hard work had paid off. Now, shadow with me, sentence by sentence. Listen and repeat. Maria woke up feeling melancholy on the morning of her important presentation. She had been anxious all week, worried about speaking in English in front of so many people. She felt vulnerable because English wasn't her first language. As she prepared, she became overwhelmed by all the details she needed to remember. She felt frustrated when she couldn't pronounce certain words perfectly. But Maria was determined not to give up. She was grateful for her teacher's support and encouragement. When the presentation ended successfully, she felt incredibly relieved. Her colleagues' positive feedback made her ecstatic. That night, lying in bed, she felt deeply content, knowing that her hard work had paid off. Beautiful. Do you see how these emotion words create a rich, detailed picture of someone's inner experience? This is the power of advanced vocabulary. You don't just say, Maria was nervous and then happy. You paint a complete emotional landscape that allows listeners to truly understand and connect with the experience. Section 2. Professional and Academic Excellence. In professional and academic environments, the words you choose directly impact how competent, intelligent, and capable you appear to others. Using advanced, precise vocabulary signals that you're educated, thoughtful, and serious about your work. Let's learn 10 essential words for professional and academic success. First word, competent. Repeat after me. Competent. Competent means having the necessary skill, knowledge, or ability to do something successfully. For example, she is a competent manager who handles multiple projects efficiently. Another example, the company only hires competent professionals with proven track records. Try saying, I want to become a competent English speaker. Second word, meticulous. Say it carefully. Meticulous. Meticulous means extremely careful and precise, paying attention to every small detail. For example, the scientist was meticulous in recording every step of the experiment. Another example, his meticulous approach to planning ensures nothing is forgotten. Practice. I try to be meticulous when checking my English grammar. Third word, innovative. Repeat. Innovative. Innovative means introducing new ideas, methods, or products, being creative and original. For example, the company's innovative approach to customer service revolutionized the industry. Another example, she developed an innovative teaching method that helps students learn faster. Say it. I appreciate teachers who use innovative techniques. Fourth word, collaborate. Say it with me, collaborate. Collaborate means to work together with others toward a common goal or project. For example, the two departments collaborated to create a more efficient system. Another example, scientists from different countries collaborated on the research. Try this. I enjoy collaborating with classmates on group projects. Fifth word, implement. Repeat after me, implement. Implement means to put a plan, decision, or system into action or effect. For example, the school will implement the new curriculum next semester. Another example, she successfully implemented cost-saving measures that improved profits. Practice saying, I want to implement better study habits. Sixth word, comprehensive. Say it slowly, comprehensive. Comprehensive means complete, including everything that is necessary, thorough, and detailed. For example, the report provided a comprehensive analysis of the market trends. Another example, she received comprehensive training before starting the job. Create your sentence. This masterclass offers comprehensive vocabulary training. Seventh word, proficient. Repeat, proficient. Proficient means highly skilled or competent in a particular area. For example, he is proficient in 3 languages. Another example, the job requires someone proficient in data analysis. Say with confidence, my goal is to become proficient in English. Eighth word, streamline. Say it, streamline. Streamline means to make a process simpler, more efficient, or more effective by removing unnecessary steps. For example, the manager streamlined the approval process to save time. Another example, new software helped streamline communication between departments. Practice, I need to streamline my study routine. Ninth word, prioritize. Repeat after me, prioritize. Prioritize means to arrange things in order of importance, dealing with the most important first. For example, successful people prioritize their health and relationships. Another example, you must prioritize your tasks to meet the deadline. Try saying, I prioritize English practice every morning. 10th word, articulate. Say it carefully, articulate. As an adjective, articulate means able to express thoughts and ideas clearly and effectively. For example, she is an articulate speaker who explains complex ideas simply. Another example, the candidate gave articulate answers during the interview. Practice, I want to become more articulate in English. Wonderful progress. Now let's combine these professional words in a story. David was a competent engineer who took a meticulous approach to every project. When his company needed innovative solutions to reduce production costs, David collaborated with the design team to develop new methods. He prioritized the most critical issues first and created a comprehensive plan to implement changes gradually. His articulate presentations helped convince management to streamline outdated processes. Because David was proficient in both technical and communication skills, the project succeeded beyond expectations. His ability to articulate complex technical concepts in simple terms made him invaluable to the organization. Now shadow with me, sentence by sentence. David was a competent engineer who took a meticulous approach to every project. When his company needed innovative solutions to reduce production costs, David collaborated with the design team to develop new methods. He prioritized the most critical issues first and created a comprehensive plan to implement changes gradually. His articulate presentations helped convince management to streamline outdated processes. Because David was proficient in both technical and communication skills, the project succeeded beyond expectations. His ability to articulate complex technical concepts in simple terms made him invaluable to the organization. Excellent. Notice how these professional vocabulary words create an image of someone capable, organized, and successful. When you use words like these in job interviews, business meetings, or academic discussions, you immediately elevate your professional image. Section 3. Personal Growth and Character. How we describe ourselves and others reveals much about our understanding of human nature and personal development. This section focuses on vocabulary that describes character, personality, and personal growth. First word, resilient. Repeat after me. Resilient. Resilient means able to recover quickly from difficulties, setbacks, or challenges. Mentally strong and adaptable. For example, after losing his job, he remained resilient and started his own successful business. Another example, resilient people view failures as learning opportunities. Try saying, I am becoming more resilient as I face language learning challenges. Second word, perseverance. Say it carefully. Perseverance. Perseverance means continuing to work toward a goal despite difficulties, obstacles, or discouragement. For example, her perseverance in studying paid off when she finally passed the difficult exam. Another example, success requires perseverance, not just talent. Practice. Learning English requires perseverance and daily effort. Third word, integrity. Repeat. Integrity. Integrity means having strong moral principles, being honest and ethical even when no one is watching. For example, she has integrity and refuses to compromise her values for profit. Another example, people with integrity earn trust and respect. Say it, I value integrity in myself and others. Fourth word, adaptable. Say it with me, adaptable. Adaptable means able to adjust to new conditions, circumstances, or environments easily. For example, in today's changing world, being adaptable is essential for success. Another example, she is, Idisai, highly adaptable and thrives in any situation. Try this. I am learning to be more adaptable when studying English. Fifth word, empathetic. Repeat after me. Empathetic. Empathetic means able to understand and share the feelings of others, having compassion and sensitivity. For example, an empathetic teacher understands students' struggles and provides support. Another example, empathetic leaders create positive work environments. Practice saying, I try to be empathetic toward other language learners. Sixth word, self-disciplined. Say it slowly, self-disciplined. Self-disciplined means having the ability to control your behavior, emotions, and desires to achieve long-term goals. For example, self-disciplined people exercise regularly even when they don't feel motivated. Another example, success in any field requires self-discipline. Create your sentence. I am developing self-discipline in my English studies. Seventh word, conscientious. Repeat carefully, conscientious. Conscientious means being careful, thorough, and guided by a sense of responsibility and duty. For example, she is a conscientious employee who always completes tasks with care. Another example, conscientious students check their work before submitting it. Say with me, I try to be conscientious about practicing English daily. Eighth word, tenacious. Say it, tenacious. Tenacious means holding firmly to goals, purposes, or beliefs, persistent and determined. For example, his tenacious pursuit of excellence made him a champion. Another example, Tenacious learners never give up, even when progress seems slow. Practice. I am tenacious in my commitment to English fluency. Ninth word, humble. Repeat after me. Humble. Humble means not proud or arrogant, modest about your achievements and willing to learn from others. For example, despite his success, he remained humble and kind to everyone. Another example, humble people are often the most respected leaders. Try saying, I stay humble and recognize I always have more to learn. 10th word, reflective. Say it thoughtfully. Reflective. Reflective means engaging in deep thought about experiences, actions, and their meaning. Contemplative and thoughtful. For example, reflective people regularly examine their choices and growth. Another example, she keeps a journal to maintain a reflective practice. Practice. I am becoming more reflective about my learning progress. Excellent work. Let's weave these character words together. Elena demonstrated remarkable perseverance throughout her journey to fluency. She was resilient when facing setbacks and adaptable when her study methods needed adjustment. Her self-discipline meant practicing every single day, even when she felt tired. She approached learning with integrity, never taking shortcuts or cheating. Her empathetic nature helped her connect with other learners and support them through struggles. Elena was conscientious about checking her mistakes and tenacious in reviewing difficult concepts repeatedly. Despite her progress, she remained humble, always thanking her teachers and study partners. Her reflective habit of journaling about her learning experiences accelerated her growth even further. Now shadow with me. Elena demonstrated remarkable perseverance throughout her journey to fluency. She was resilient when facing setbacks and adaptable when her study methods needed adjustment. Her self-discipline meant practicing every single day, even when she felt tired. She approached learning with integrity, never taking shortcuts or cheating. Her empathetic nature helped her connect with other learners and support them through struggles. Elena was conscientious about checking her mistakes and tenacious in reviewing difficult concepts repeatedly. Despite her progress, she remained humble, always thanking her teachers and study partners. Her reflective habit of journaling about her learning experiences accelerated her growth even further. Beautiful. These character words don't just describe people, they inspire us to develop these qualities in ourselves. Section 4. Travel, Adventure, and Exploration. Travel expands our horizons, challenges our perspectives, and creates memories that last a lifetime. This section gives you sophisticated vocabulary to describe travel experiences and adventures. First word, wanderlust. Repeat after me. Wanderlust. Wanderlust means a strong desire to travel and explore the world. For example, her wanderlust led her to visit 47 countries before age 30. Another example, many young people feel wanderlust and take gap years to travel. Try saying, I have wanderlust and dream of exploring different cultures. Second word, breathtaking. Say it with me. Breathtaking. Breathtaking means so beautiful, impressive, or surprising that it takes your breath away. For example, the view from the mountaintop was absolutely breathtaking. Another example, the ancient temple's architecture was breathtaking. Practice. I hope to see breathtaking natural wonders around the world. Third word, immersive. Repeat. Immersive. Immersive means providing complete involvement in an activity or environment. For example, living with a local family provides an immersive cultural experience. Another example, The immersive language program helped her become fluent quickly. Say it. I want an immersive English learning experience. Fourth word, picturesque. Say it carefully. Picturesque. Picturesque means visually attractive, especially in a quaint or charming way, like a picture. For example, the picturesque village had cobblestone streets and flower-covered cottages. Another example, we stayed in a picturesque coastal town. Try this. I love visiting picturesque places for photography. Fifth word, nomadic. Repeat after me. Nomadic. Nomadic means moving from place to place without a permanent home, wandering. For example, he lives a nomadic lifestyle, working remotely from different countries. Another example, digital nomads enjoy nomadic careers that allow location independence. Practice saying, some people prefer a nomadic existence to settled life. Sixth word, expedition. Say it slowly. Expedition. Expedition means a journey undertaken for a specific purpose, often involving exploration or research. For example, the scientific expedition to Antarctica lasted 6 months. Another example, they organized an expedition to climb Mount Everest. Create your sentence, I would love to join an expedition to explore remote regions. Seventh word, indigenous. Repeat carefully. Indigenous. Indigenous means originating or occurring naturally in a particular place. Native. For example, we learned about indigenous cultures and their traditions. Another example, indigenous people have lived in this region for thousands of years. Say with me, I respect indigenous knowledge and customs. Eighth word, traverse. Say it. Traverse. Traverse means to travel across or through an area. For example, the hikers traversed the mountain range in 12 days. Another example, Marco Polo traversed the Silk Road on his journey to China. Practice, I hope to traverse Europe by train someday. Ninth word, cosmopolitan. Repeat after me, cosmopolitan. Cosmopolitan means including people from many different countries and cultures, sophisticated and worldly. For example, New York is a cosmopolitan city with incredible diversity. Another example, she developed a cosmopolitan perspective through extensive travel. Try saying, I enjoy cosmopolitan cities with international communities. 10th word, sojourn. Say it thoughtfully. Sojourn. Sojourn means a temporary stay in a place. For example, her sojourn in Japan lasted 3 months. Another example, the writer's sojourn in the countryside inspired his novel. Practice. My sojourn abroad changed my perspective on life. Wonderful. Let's create a travel story with these words. Marcus had always felt strong wanderlust pulling him toward adventure. After years of planning, he finally embarked on an expedition to traverse Southeast Asia. The journey proved incredibly immersive as he stayed in picturesque villages and learned from indigenous communities. Every destination offered breathtaking landscapes, from emerald rice terraces to pristine beaches. His nomadic lifestyle suited him perfectly as he moved from place to place, absorbing different cultures. In Bangkok, he experienced the cosmopolitan energy of a global city. His 6-month sojourn throughout the region transformed his understanding of the world and himself. This immersive experience taught him that real education happens through exploration and connection. Now shadow with me. Marcus had always felt strong wanderlust pulling him toward adventure. After years of planning, he finally embarked on an expedition to traverse Southeast Asia. The journey proved incredibly immersive as he stayed in picturesque villages and learned from indigenous communities. Every destination offered breathtaking landscapes, from emerald rice terraces to pristine beaches. His nomadic lifestyle suited him perfectly as he moved from place to place, absorbing different cultures. In Bangkok, he experienced the cosmopolitan energy of a global city. His 6-month sojourn throughout the region transformed his understanding of the world and himself. This immersive experience taught him that real education happens through exploration and connection. Excellent. These travel words allow you to describe adventures with richness and depth that basic vocabulary simply cannot achieve. Dakira. Section 5. Technology and Digital Life. We live in a digital age where technology shapes almost every aspect of our lives. This section provides vocabulary to discuss technology intelligently and confidently. First word, seamless. Repeat after me. Seamless. Seamless means smooth and continuous, without any problems or difficulties. For example, the new software provides a seamless user experience. Another example, the integration between devices was seamless and effortless. Try saying, I appreciate seamless technology that just works. Second word, intuitive. Say it with me. Intuitive. Intuitive means easy to use and understand without needing instructions or training. For example, the app's intuitive design makes it accessible for all ages. Another example, her intuitive understanding of technology helps her learn new programs quickly. Practice. I prefer intuitive interfaces that require no manual. Third word, obsolete. Repeat. Obsolete. Obsolete means no longer in use or no longer useful, outdated and replaced by something better. For example, floppy disks became obsolete when USB drives were invented. Another example, many traditional jobs may become obsolete due to automation. Say it. Some technology becomes obsolete within just a few years. Fourth word, revolutionary. Say it carefully. Revolutionary. Revolutionary means involving or causing a complete change, innovative in a dramatic way. For example, the smartphone was a revolutionary invention that changed communication. Another example, artificial intelligence represents a revolutionary transformation in technology. Try this. We're living through revolutionary changes in how we work and learn. Fifth word, algorithm. Repeat after me. Algorithm. Algorithm means a set of rules or processes that a computer follows to solve a problem or complete a task. For example, social media platforms use algorithms to decide what content you see. Another example, understanding algorithms helps you use technology more effectively. Practice saying, algorithms influence many aspects of our digital lives. Sixth word, cybersecurity. Say it slowly. Cybersecurity. Cybersecurity means protecting computer systems, networks, and data from digital attacks or unauthorized access. For example, companies invest heavily in cybersecurity to protect customer information. Another example, strong passwords are essential for basic cybersecurity. Create your sentence. I'm learning about cybersecurity to protect my personal data. Seventh word, bandwidth. Repeat carefully, bandwidth. Bandwidth literally means the amount of data that can be transmitted in a fixed amount of time, but it's also used metaphorically to mean capacity or resources. For example, I don't have the bandwidth to take on another project right now. Another example, our internet bandwidth isn't sufficient for video conferences. Say with me, I need to manage my mental bandwidth carefully. Eighth word, Optimize. Say it. Optimize. Optimize means to make something as effective, perfect, or functional as possible. For example, she optimized her website to load faster and rank higher in searches. Another example, athletes optimize their training to achieve peak performance. Practice. I'm trying to optimize my study schedule for better results. Ninth word, interface. Repeat after me. Interface. Interface means a point where two systems, subjects, or organizations meet and interact, often referring to the user interface of software. For example, the interface between the app and the user is clean and simple. Another example, a good interface makes complex technology accessible. Try saying, I appreciate a well-designed user interface. 10th word, synchronize. Say it thoughtfully. Synchronize. Synchronize means to cause things to occur or operate at the same time or rate, to coordinate. For example, the system automatically synchronizes data across all your devices. Another example, we need to synchronize our schedules for the meeting. Practice. My calendar synchronizes between my phone and computer. Excellent work. Let's create a technology story. The development team created a revolutionary app with an intuitive interface that users loved immediately. The seamless experience came from months of work to optimize every feature. They implemented strong cybersecurity measures to protect user data and used sophisticated algorithms to personalize content. The app could synchronize across multiple devices without requiring additional bandwidth. Within months, competing products seemed obsolete by comparison. The interface was so intuitive that even users unfamiliar with technology could navigate it effortlessly. This revolutionary approach to design proved that technology works best when it becomes invisible, simply enhancing life without complication. Now shadow with me. The development team created a revolutionary app with an intuitive interface that users loved immediately. The seamless experience came from months of work to optimize every feature. They implemented strong cybersecurity measures to protect user data and used sophisticated algorithms to personalize content. The ADI app could synchronize across multiple devices without requiring additional bandwidth. Within months, competing products seemed obsolete by comparison. The interface was so intuitive that even users unfamiliar with technology could navigate it effortlessly. This revolutionary approach to design proved that technology works best when it becomes invisible, simply enhancing life without complication. Perfect. Technology vocabulary is essential in our modern world, and these words give you the language to discuss digital life with confidence and sophistication. Dorstjeron, Section 6, Health, Wellness, and Lifestyle. Health and wellness have become central concerns in modern life. This section provides vocabulary to discuss physical health, mental wellness, and lifestyle choices with precision. First word, holistic. Repeat after me. Holistic. Holistic means considering the whole person or system, not just individual parts, comprehensive and integrated. For example, holistic medicine treats the mind, body, and spirit together. Another example, she takes a holistic approach to health, including nutrition, exercise, and stress management. Try saying, I prefer a holistic approach to learning that includes many methods. Second word, rejuvenate. Say it with me, rejuvenate. Rejuvenate means to make someone or something look or feel younger, fresher, or more energetic. For example, the spa weekend helped rejuvenate her after months of stressful work. Another example, A good night's sleep can rejuvenate both body and mind. Practice. I need to rejuvenate my energy with a short vacation. Third word, strenuous. Repeat, strenuous. Strenuous means requiring or using great effort, energy, or exertion. For example, marathon training involves strenuous physical exercise. Another example, the hike was more strenuous than we expected. Say it, learning a language requires strenuous mental effort. Fourth word, sedentary. Say it carefully, sedentary. Sedentary means involving little physical activity, spending much time sitting. For example, a sedentary lifestyle increases health risks significantly. Another example, office workers often have sedentary jobs that require intentional exercise. Try this. I'm trying to reduce my sedentary time by taking walking breaks. Fifth word, detrimental. Repeat after me. Detrimental. Detrimental means harmful or damaging to something. For example, smoking is detrimental to your health. Another example, lack of sleep is detrimental to both physical and mental performance. Practice saying, stress can be detrimental to overall wellness. Sixth word, nourish. Say it slowly. Nourish. Nourish means to provide food or other substances necessary for health and growth, or to support and encourage development. For example, fresh vegetables nourish your body with essential vitamins. Another example, reading good books nourishes the mind. Create your sentence. I try to nourish both my body and mind daily. Seventh word, vitality. Repeat carefully. Vitality. Vitality means physical and mental energy, vigor, and liveliness. For example, regular exercise increases vitality and energy levels. Another example, she radiated vitality and enthusiasm despite her age. Say with me, I want to maintain my vitality as I grow older. Eighth word, mindfulness. Say it. Mindfulness. Mindfulness means the practice of being present and fully engaged in the current moment without judgment. For example, mindfulness meditation reduces stress and improves focus. Another example, practicing mindfulness helps you appreciate simple moments. Practice. I'm incorporating mindfulness into my daily routine. Ninth word, stamina. Repeat after me, stamina. Stamina means the ability to sustain prolonged physical or mental effort, endurance. For example, building stamina takes consistent training over time. Another example, mental stamina is just as important as physical stamina. Try saying, I'm developing stamina for longer study sessions. 10th word, immunity. Say it thoughtfully, immunity. Immunity means the ability to resist infection or disease, protection from something harmful. For example, a healthy diet strengthens your immunity against illness. Another example, sleep is crucial for maintaining strong immunity. Practice. I support my immunity with good nutrition and exercise. Wonderful. Let's create a wellness story. After years of a sedentary lifestyle that proved detrimental to her health, Sophie decided to make changes. She adopted a holistic approach that included nourishing her body with wholesome food, strenuous exercise to build stamina, and mindfulness practices to rejuvenate her mind. She learned that vitality comes not from quick fixes, but from consistent habits that support immunity and overall wellness. The transformation wasn't easy. Building stamina required patience and dedication. But by nourishing both body and mind, avoiding sedentary patterns, and practicing mindfulness daily, Sophie discovered a level of vitality she hadn't felt in years. Her holistic approach proved that wellness requires attention to every aspect of health. Now shadow with me. After years of a sedentary lifestyle that proved detrimental to her health, Sophie decided to make changes. She adopted a holistic approach that included nourishing her body with wholesome food, strenuous exercise to build stamina, and mindfulness practices to rejuvenate her mind. She learned that vitality comes not from quick fixes, but from consistent habits that support immunity and overall wellness. The transformation wasn't easy. Building stamina required patience and dedication. But by nourishing both body and mind, avoiding sedentary patterns, and practicing mindfulness daily, Sophie discovered a level of vitality she hadn't felt in years. Her holistic approach proved that wellness requires attention to every aspect of health. Excellent. Health and wellness vocabulary allows you to discuss these important topics with the sophistication they deserve. Chapter Section 7. Finance, Business, and Economics. Financial literacy is essential in today's world. This section provides vocabulary to discuss money, business, and economics with confidence and precision. First word, asset. Repeat after me. Asset. Asset means something valuable that a person or company owns, or a useful or valuable quality or skill. For example, real estate is often considered a good long-term asset. Another example, her language skills are a valuable asset in the job market. Try saying, education is one of the most important assets you can acquire. Second word, liability. Say it with me, liability. Liability means something that causes disadvantage or difficulty, or a financial debt or obligation. For example, the company's outdated equipment became a liability rather than an asset. Another example, credit card debt is a financial liability that should be eliminated. Practice, poor time management can be a serious liability in professional life. Third word, diversify. Repeat, diversify. Diversify means to vary or expand into different areas to reduce risk or increase opportunities. For example, investors should diversify their portfolios across different types of investments. Another example, the company decided to diversify into new markets. Say it, I want to diversify my skills to increase employment opportunities. Fourth word, revenue. Say it carefully. Revenue. Revenue means income, especially the total income generated by a business from its operations. For example, the company's revenue increased by 25% this year. Another example, advertising provides the primary revenue for many websites. Try this. Understanding revenue streams is essential for business success. Fifth word, expenditure. Repeat after me. Expenditure. Expenditure means the amount of money spent on something, expenses. For example, the family carefully tracks monthly expenditures to stay within budget. Another example, government expenditure on education has increased significantly. Practice saying, monitoring expenditure helps you achieve financial goals. Sixth word, sustainable. Say it slowly, sustainable. Sustainable means able to continue over time without depleting resources or causing damage. Maintainable. For example, the business needed a sustainable growth model rather than rapid expansion. Another example, sustainable living reduces environmental impact. Create your sentence. I'm trying to develop sustainable study habits I can maintain long-term. Seventh word, lucrative. Repeat carefully, lucrative. Lucrative means producing a large profit, very profitable. For example, she turned her hobby into a lucrative business. Another example, technology careers can be quite lucrative. Say with me, English fluency opens doors to lucrative opportunities. Eighth word, depreciate. Say it. Depreciate. Depreciate means to decrease in value over time. For example, cars typically depreciate significantly in the first few years. Another example, the currency depreciated against the dollar. Practice. Some investments appreciate while others depreciate. Ninth word, equity. Repeat after me. Equity. Equity means the value of ownership in something or fairness and justice. For example, building equity in property takes time and regular payments. Another example, the company values equity and fair treatment for all employees. Try saying, education provides equity by creating equal opportunities. 10th word, venture. Say it thoughtfully. Venture. Venture means a business enterprise involving risk or to undertake a risky journey or course of action. For example, starting a business is always a venture with uncertain outcomes. Another example, she decided to venture into entrepreneurship despite the risks. Practice. Learning a new language is a venture that requires courage. Excellent work. Let's create a business story. Michael understood that financial success required managing both assets and liabilities carefully. He worked to diversify his income streams rather than depending on a single revenue source. His lucrative consulting business generated strong revenue, but he monitored expenditure closely to ensure sustainable growth. He knew that some assets appreciate while others depreciate, so he invested wisely. When considering a new business venture, he carefully evaluated the risks against potential rewards. Michael believed in building equity, both financial equity through smart investments and social equity through fair practices. His sustainable approach to business meant thinking long-term rather than chasing quick profits. This balanced perspective between risk and security, expenditure and revenue, turned his venture into lasting success. Now shadow with me. Michael understood that financial success required managing both assets and liabilities carefully. He worked to diversify his income streams rather than depending on a single revenue source. His lucrative consulting business generated strong revenue, but he monitored expenditure closely to ensure sustainable growth. He knew that some assets appreciate while others depreciate, so he invested wisely. When considering a new business venture, he carefully evaluated the risks against potential rewards. Michael believed in building equity, both financial equity through smart investments and social equity through fair practices. His sustainable approach to business meant thinking long-term rather than chasing quick profits. This balanced perspective between risk and security, expenditure and revenue, turned his venture into lasting success. Perfect. Financial vocabulary empowers you to discuss money matters with the sophistication of a business professional. Section 8. Relationships and Social Dynamics. Human. Connections form the foundation of a meaningful life. This section provides sophisticated vocabulary to discuss relationships, social interactions, and human dynamics. First word, rapport. Repeat after me. Rapport. Rapport means a close and harmonious relationship where people understand each other well. For example, the teacher quickly established rapport with her students. Another example, building rapport is essential for effective teamwork. Try saying, I try to build rapport with everyone I meet. Second word, reciprocal. Say it with me, reciprocal. Reciprocal means given or done in return, mutual and shared between people or groups. For example, healthy friendships involve reciprocal support and care. Another example, the agreement was reciprocal, benefiting both parties equally. Practice. Relationships work best when effort is reciprocal. Third word, aloof. Repeat, aloof. Aloof means distant, detached, or uninvolved emotionally, not friendly or forthcoming. For example, he seemed aloof at first, but he was actually just shy. Another example, her aloof manner made it difficult to connect with her. Say it, I try not to appear aloof when meeting new people. Fourth word, cordial. Say it carefully. Cordial. Cordial means warm and friendly in manner, polite and pleasant. For example, despite their differences, they maintained a cordial relationship. Another example, the meeting concluded with cordial handshakes. Try this. I always try to maintain cordial relations with colleagues. Fifth word, empathy. Repeat after me. Empathy. Empathy means the ability to understand and share the feelings of another person. For example, empathy allows us to connect deeply with others' experiences. Another example, good leaders demonstrate empathy for their team members. Practice saying, empathy is essential for meaningful relationships. Sixth word, discord. Say it slowly. Discord. Discord means disagreement or conflict between people or things, lack of harmony. For example, the discord between the two departments affected productivity. Another example, family discord can create lasting emotional wounds. Create your sentence, I try to resolve discord through open communication. Seventh word, affinity. Repeat carefully. Affinity. Affinity means a natural liking for or attraction to someone or something, a sense of connection. For example, she felt an immediate affinity with people who shared her values. Another example, his affinity for music made him an excellent teacher. Say with me, I have a natural affinity for language learning. Eighth word, amicable. Say it, amicable. Amicable means characterized by friendly goodwill, peaceable and without hostility. For example, they reached an amicable agreement that satisfied everyone. Another example, the divorce was surprisingly amicable. Practice, I prefer amicable solutions to conflicts. Ninth word, mentorship. Repeat after me. Mentorship. Mentorship means guidance and support provided by a more experienced person to help someone develop. For example, his mentorship was crucial to her career development. Another example, effective mentorship creates lasting positive impact. Try saying, I'm grateful for the mentorship I've received. 10th word, kinship. Say it thoughtfully. Kinship. Kinship means family relationship or a feeling of being close or connected to someone. For example, she felt a sense of kinship with other immigrants. Another example, the team developed a kinship that extended beyond work. Practice, I feel kinship with other language learners. Wonderful. Let's create a relationship story. Anna had a natural affinity for connecting with people from different backgrounds. She approached every new relationship with empathy, trying to understand others' perspectives deeply. By maintaining cordial and amicable interactions, she built strong rapport quickly. She valued reciprocal relationships where both people contributed equally. When discord arose, she addressed it directly rather than remaining aloof. Through her work, she discovered the power of mentorship. Both giving and receiving guidance created bonds of kinship that lasted for years. Anna understood that meaningful connections required empathy, consistent effort, and the wisdom to maintain amicable relations even during disagreements. Her ability to establish rapport and show genuine empathy made her a natural leader who inspired loyalty and trust. Now shadow with me. Anna had a natural affinity for connecting with people from different backgrounds. She approached every new relationship with empathy, trying to understand others' perspectives deeply. By maintaining cordial and amicable interactions, she built strong rapport quickly. She valued reciprocal relationships where both people contributed equally. When discord arose, she addressed it directly rather than remaining aloof. Through her work, she discovered the power of mentorship. Both giving and receiving guidance created bonds of kinship that lasted for years. Anna understood that meaningful connections required empathy, consistent effort, and the wisdom to maintain amicable relations even during disagreements. Her ability to establish rapport and show genuine empathy made her a natural leader who inspired loyalty and trust. Excellent. Relationship vocabulary allows you to discuss the complex dynamics of human connection with nuance and depth. Darasır. Section 9. Education, learning, and intellectual growth. Education extends far beyond formal schooling. It's a lifelong journey of curiosity, discovery, and growth. This section provides vocabulary for discussing learning, knowledge, and intellectual development. First word, pedagogy. Repeat after me. Pedagogy. Pedagogy means the method and practice of teaching, the art or science of education. For example, modern pedagogy emphasizes student-centered learning. Another example, her pedagogy incorporated technology and traditional methods. Try saying, effective pedagogy adapts to different learning styles. Second word, curriculum. Say it with me. Curriculum. Curriculum means the subject and content taught in an educational program or course. For example, the school redesigned its curriculum to include more practical skills. Another example, a well-designed curriculum builds knowledge progressively. Practice. I'm following a self-designed curriculum for English learning. Third word, comprehensive. Repeat. Comprehensive. Comprehensive means complete and including everything necessary, thorough and extensive. For example, the textbook provides comprehensive coverage of grammar topics. Another example, she received comprehensive training before starting. Say it. This masterclass offers comprehensive vocabulary development. Fourth word, analytical. Say it carefully. Analytical. Analytical means using logical reasoning and systematic examination to understand something complex. For example, analytical thinking helps you solve complex problems. Another example, the course develops analytical skills through case studies. Try this. I'm developing more analytical approaches to learning. Fifth word, retention. Repeat after me. Retention. Retention means the ability to remember information or experiences. The act of keeping or holding something. For example, active practice improves long-term retention of vocabulary. Another example, sleep is crucial for memory retention. Practice saying, I use various techniques to improve retention. Sixth word, methodology. Say it slowly, methodology. Methodology means a system of methods and principles used in a particular field or activity. For example, her research methodology was rigorous and well documented. Another example, different learning methodologies work for different people. Create your sentence. I'm experimenting with different study methodologies. Seventh word, synthesis. Repeat carefully. Synthesis. Synthesis means the combination of ideas or information to form a coherent whole, bringing together different elements. For example, the essay required synthesis of information from multiple sources. Another example, Creative thinking often involves synthesis of seemingly unrelated concepts. Say with me, learning requires synthesis of new information with existing knowledge. Eighth word, enlightening. Say it, enlightening. Enlightening means providing insight, knowledge, or understanding, informative and educational. For example, the documentary was enlightening and changed my perspective. Another example, she found the lecture enlightening and thought-provoking. Practice. Reading widely provides enlightening perspectives. Ninth word, assimilate. Repeat after me, assimilate. Assimilate means to absorb and integrate information, ideas, or culture, to understand and incorporate. For Dear's example, it takes time to assimilate new concepts completely. Another example, immersion helps you assimilate language naturally. Try saying, I need time to assimilate everything I've learned today. 10th word, proficiency. Say it thoughtfully, proficiency. Proficiency means a high degree of skill or competence in a particular area. For example, achieving proficiency in a language requires consistent practice. Another example, the job requires proficiency in data analysis. Practice. My goal is to achieve proficiency in English. Excellent work. Let's create an education story. Dr. Martinez revolutionized her pedagogy by developing a comprehensive curriculum that promoted analytical thinking. Her methodology emphasized active learning rather than passive listening. She understood that retention improved when students could synthesize information from multiple sources and assimilate concepts through practical application. Each enlightening lesson built progressively toward greater proficiency. Her comprehensive approach addressed different learning styles, ensuring every student could develop analytical skills at their own pace. Students found her classes enlightening because she encouraged synthesis of theory and practice. Through her innovative pedagogy and well-structured curriculum, students achieved remarkable proficiency. They didn't just memorize facts. They assimilated deep understanding and developed analytical capabilities that served them throughout their careers. Now shadow with me. Dr. Martinez revolutionized her pedagogy by developing a comprehensive curriculum that promoted analytical thinking. Her methodology emphasized active learning rather than passive listening. She understood that retention improved when students could synthesize information from multiple sources and assimilate concepts through practical application. Each enlightening lesson built progressively toward greater proficiency. Her comprehensive approach addressed different learning styles, ensuring every student could develop analytical skills at their own pace. Students found her classes enlightening because she encouraged synthesis of theory and practice. Through her innovative pedagogy and well-structured curriculum, students achieved remarkable proficiency. They didn't just memorize facts. They assimilated deep understanding and developed analytical capabilities that served them throughout their careers. Perfect. Educational vocabulary allows you to discuss learning processes with the precision of an academic professional. Data Rooms, Section 10, Environment, Sustainability, and Global Issues. Our world faces unprecedented challenges that require informed discussion and action. This final section provides vocabulary to discuss environmental issues, sustainability, and global concerns with sophistication. First word, ecological. Repeat after me, ecological. Ecological means relating to the relationship between organisms and their environment. Concerning ecology, for example, The ecological impact of plastic pollution is devastating. Another example, ecological balance is essential for biodiversity. Try saying, we must consider ecological consequences of our actions. Second word, renewable. Say it with me, renewable. Renewable means able to be replaced naturally or replenished, not depleted when used. For example, solar and wind are renewable energy sources. Another example, the shift to renewable resources is urgent. Practice, renewable energy reduces environmental damage. Third word, biodiversity. Repeat, biodiversity. Biodiversity means the variety of plant and animal life in a particular habitat. Biological diversity. For example, rainforests contain incredible biodiversity with thousands of species. Another example, protecting biodiversity ensures ecosystem health. Say it, climate change threatens global biodiversity. Fourth word, carbon footprint. Say it carefully, carbon footprint. Carbon footprint means the total amount of greenhouse gases produced by human activities. For example, flying frequently increases your carbon footprint significantly. Another example, many companies are working to reduce their carbon footprint. Try this. I'm trying to minimize my carbon footprint through lifestyle changes. Fifth word, deforestation. Repeat after me. Deforestation. Deforestation means the clearing or cutting down of forests on a large scale. For example, deforestation in the Amazon affects global climate patterns. Another example, illegal logging contributes to rapid deforestation. Practice saying, deforestation destroys habitats and increases carbon emissions. Sixth word, mitigation. Say it slowly. Mitigation. Mitigation means the action of reducing the severity or seriousness of something. For example, climate change mitigation requires global cooperation. Another example, the plan includes mitigation strategies for environmental damage. Create your sentence. Early mitigation can prevent larger problems later. Seventh word, resilience. Repeat carefully, resilience. In environmental context, resilience means the capacity of ecosystems to recover from disturbances. For example, ecosystem resilience determines how quickly nature rebounds from damage. Another example, building resilience helps communities adapt to climate change. Say with me, environmental resilience protects against future threats. Eighth word, conservation. Say it, conservation. Conservation means the protection and preservation of natural resources and wildlife. For example, wildlife conservation efforts have saved many endangered species. Another example, water conservation is critical in drought-prone regions. Practice, conservation requires both individual and collective action. Ninth word, emissions. Repeat after me, emissions. Emissions means substances, especially gases, released into the atmosphere, particularly from industrial processes or vehicles. For example, reducing emissions is essential for fighting climate change. Another example, the factory installed filters to reduce harmful emissions. Try saying, transportation accounts for significant greenhouse gas emissions. 10th word, sustainable. Say it thoughtfully, sustainable. Sustainable means able to be maintained at a certain rate or level without depleting resources or causing ecological damage. For example, sustainable agriculture protects soil health for future generations. Another example, we need sustainable solutions to environmental challenges. Practice, sustainable living benefits both present and future. Wonderful. Let's create an environmental story. The island community faced serious ecological challenges from deforestation and rising emissions. Scientists warned that biodiversity loss threatened the ecosystem's resilience. Local leaders developed a comprehensive plan for mitigation that addressed their carbon footprint systematically. They invested in renewable energy to replace fossil fuels and implemented strict conservation measures to protect remaining forests. The Sustainable Development Plan balanced economic needs with ecological health. Community members reduced their carbon footprint through lifestyle changes, while businesses adopted sustainable practices. Education programs emphasized the connection between biodiversity, ecosystem resilience, and human well-being. Through dedicated conservation efforts and commitment to renewable resources, the island became a model of sustainable living. Their success proved that mitigation of environmental damage is possible when communities prioritize ecological health alongside economic development. Now shadow with me. The island community faced serious ecological challenges from deforestation and rising emissions. Scientists warned that biodiversity loss threatened the ecosystem's resilience. Local leaders developed a comprehensive plan for mitigation that addressed their carbon footprint systematically. They invested in renewable energy to replace fossil fuels and implemented strict conservation measures to protect remaining forests. The Sustainable Development Plan balanced economic needs with ecological health. Community members reduced their carbon footprint through lifestyle changes, while businesses adopted sustainable practices. Education programs emphasized the connection between biodiversity, ecosystem resilience, and human well-being. Through dedicated conservation efforts and commitment to renewable resources, the island became a model of sustainable living. Their success proved that mitigation of environmental damage is possible when communities prioritize ecological health alongside economic development. Excellent! Environmental vocabulary empowers you to participate in crucial conversations about our planet's future. Jarkurich, Conclusion and Integration. Congratulations! You have just completed an intensive journey through 100 advanced English vocabulary words across 10 essential life domains. This is an extraordinary achievement that deserves recognition and celebration. Let's take a moment to reflect on what you've accomplished. You've learned sophisticated words for expressing emotions, from ecstatic to melancholy, from overwhelmed to content. You've acquired professional vocabulary that makes you sound competent, articulate, and innovative in work settings. You've developed character words that describe resilience, perseverance, integrity, and empathy. You've mastered travel vocabulary that captures wanderlust, breathtaking experiences, and immersive adventures. You've learned technology terms like seamless, intuitive, algorithm, and cybersecurity that allow you to discuss our digital world confidently. You've acquired health vocabulary, including holistic, vitality, mindfulness, and stamina. You've learned financial terms like asset, liability, revenue, and sustainable that empower you to discuss money intelligently. You've developed relationship vocabulary, including rapport, empathy, affinity, and mentorship that helps you discuss human connections with depth. You've mastered educational terms like pedagogy, synthesis, retention, and proficiency that allow you to discuss learning processes professionally. And finally, you've learned environmental vocabulary, including ecological, biodiversity, mitigation, and conservation that enables you to participate in critical conversations about sustainability. But knowledge without application remains dormant. The real transformation happens when you actively use these words in your daily life. So here's your challenge moving forward. Daily practice commitment. Choose 5 words from today's lesson each day. Write 1 original sentence with each word. Say these sentences out loud. Record yourself if possible and listen back. Share your sentences in the comments section of this video. Weekly integration. Each week, write a short paragraph or story using at least 10 words from this masterclass. The story can be about your life, your dreams, your observations, or pure fiction. The goal is to see these words in context, to make them your own. Conversation application. Actively look for opportunities to use these words in real conversations. When talking with friends, in work meetings, in emails, consciously select advanced vocabulary instead of basic words. Yes, you might feel self-conscious at first. Yes, you might make mistakes. But each time you use a new word, you strengthen the neural pathways that make it permanent. Read-in reinforcement. Pay attention when you encounter these words in books, articles, or videos. Notice how native speakers use them. Observe the contexts and collocations. This passive exposure reinforces active learning. Teaching solidifies learning. Explain these words to someone else. Teaching is one of the most effective learning strategies. When you can explain a word clearly to another person, you truly understand it. Remember, fluency is not about speed. It's about confidence, clarity, and connection. When you use words like resilient instead of strong, comprehensive instead of complete, or innovative instead of new, you're not showing off. You're expressing yourself with precision. You're painting with a fuller palette of colors. You're communicating with greater nuance and impact. Some of you might feel overwhelmed by the volume of information in this masterclass. That's completely normal. You don't need to memorize everything immediately. Learning is a process, not an event. Return to this video multiple times. Each time you watch, you'll notice words you missed before. Each repetition strengthens retention. I want you to understand something profound. Every word you learn is a tool that expands your ability to think, to express, to understand, and to connect. Language doesn't just describe reality. It shapes how we perceive and interact with reality. When you learn the word resilience, you don't just learn a synonym for strength. You learn a concept, a way of thinking about challenges and recovery that might not have existed in your mental framework before. This is the true power of vocabulary expansion. You're not just learning English words, you're expanding your cognitive capabilities. You're developing new ways of categorizing experience, understanding emotions, analyzing situations, and solving problems. Before we conclude, I want to address a question many learners ask. How long will it take to master these words? The answer is personal and depends on your commitment. But here's what I can promise. If you review this masterclass once per week for the next month, if you actively practice using these words, if you write with them and speak with them, many of these words will become permanent parts of your active vocabulary within 30 days. The words that resonate most with your personal interests or current life situations will stick fastest. If you're interested in technology, those words will integrate quickly. If you're focused on personal development, those character words will become natural. If you're passionate about environmental issues, that vocabulary will feel most relevant. Trust the process. Trust yourself. You've already demonstrated remarkable commitment by watching this entire 40-minute masterclass. That level of dedication is rare and valuable. It's the same dedication that will carry you to fluency. I want to leave you with one final thought. Language learning is not a destination. It's a journey without end. Even native speakers continue learning new words throughout their lives. The goal is not perfection. The goal is progress. The goal is expansion. The goal is capability. Every new word you learn opens a door. Behind that door might be a better job opportunity, a deeper friendship, a successful negotiation, a powerful presentation, a moving piece of writing, or simply the satisfaction of expressing exactly what you mean, exactly how you want to say it. You now have 100 new keys. Use them wisely. Use them often. Use them with confidence. Thank you for investing this time in yourself. Thank you for your commitment to growth. Thank you for being part of this global learning community. I'm genuinely proud of you and excited about the opportunities these words will create in your life. If this masterclass provided value, please like this video, subscribe to English Mastery Academy, and most importantly, share your progress in the comments. Tell me which words were new to you. Share your original sentences. Ask questions about usage. Your engagement creates a community where we all learn together. Remember, you are capable. You are progressing. You are becoming the fluent, confident English speaker you've always wanted to be. This is Sarah from the English Pod Zone, reminding you that every word you learn is a step toward the future you're creating. Keep learning. Keep growing. Keep believing in yourself. Until next time, practice well and speak boldly.